Hey guys, I just wanted to remind you of a couple things before you do your test packet, and the first thing was graphing. You did this last year with Mrs. Nakla, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a refresher since I don't believe that we've really done it at all this year. So if you remember, you're going to have two axes. Kitty's coming up to say hello. Come on, buddy, move it out of the way. He likes to do math. There he is. He just likes to be near me all the time. Okay, so you have an x-axis, which is this one in the horizontal direction, and you have a y-axis. And if you remember, the tail on the y goes up and down, which is the same direction as the y-axis goes. All right. This center point is called the origin, and it's where everything starts. And then in this direction on the x-axis, we go in the positive direction. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then in the x direction going to the left, we go negative. So this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Gets a little crowded in there, as you see. And then this is the y-axis, and going up is positive. Think about riding an escalator up. You go up to the positive floors. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then if you were to go down, that would be like the parking garage. Those would be the negative floors, maybe. That would be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Now, they don't have to stop at 5 or 6. They can keep going. That's the reason for the arrows here, is to indicate that you're going on forever in each of the 4 directions: right, left, up, and down. And then this broke it up into 4 regions, and we called those quadrants. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. I'm not going to write it on there because I want to use this just to graph some points. But again, it starts here in the upper right, and then it goes counterclockwise, which is just really kind of backwards. But once you get into high school and you get to trig, you'll understand why. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you remember, we use Roman numerals to indicate their quadrants. So this is 1 like that, not the number 1. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, but really what I want to refresh you on is how to indicate where you are on the graph. And when you talked about this with Mrs. Nakla, hopefully she gave you the image of playing Battleship, where you called out 2 coordinates to indicate where your ships were. And we called those coordinates an ordered pair, right? Ordered meaning the order is important. This one that comes first is different from the one that comes second, and if you reverse them, you would get to a different location. And pair because there's going to be 2 of them. So I'm going to just say, let's do 3, -2, right? This is called the x coordinate. Tells you where to go on the x-axis, and then this one is the y-coordinate. Tells you where to go on the y-axis, and so then we put the dot where those 2 correspond. So here this says start at the origin and go to 3 on the x-axis, right? And then from there go down to -2 on the y, right? And so that would be the ordered pair. 3, -2. All right, and then if we did, let's say -4, 5, that would say start at the origin and go to -4 on the x-axis, so we're going left this time, and then to 5 on the y-axis. Right, now if you do that as a single sweep, you go and you get to the point. Sometimes people like to say -4 on the x-axis, 5 on the y-axis, and then if you do that, just let your fingers meet at that spot right there. So either way, you would get to that spot. All right, so this is -4, comma, 5. And remember that this point right here, the origin, has the ordered pair, or the coordinates 0, 0, which means don't move on the x-axis, all right, stay at 0, and don't move on the y-axis. Right, then that helps explain if we have something like, if we want to get to this point right here, right? That would say don't go left or right, on the x-axis, stay at the origin, and then go to 3 on the y-axis. So this would be 0, 3. Let's say we wanted to get to this point right here. This would say go to -5 on the x-axis, but don't go up or down on the y-axis. So that would be a 0. Okay, so I'm telling you that because you're going to see a couple questions like this on your test packet on Monday. So I wanted to remind you of that. The other thing that I'm going to give you a very quick refresher on, although I don't feel like you need it, is area and volume formulas. So we have learned about areas of rectangles. Right, you know this from memory work too, but the area or the parts about a rectangle are its length. Right here, I'm doing cursive because if I did just a regular lowercase l, it might look like a 1. So just either a cursive L, or if you would prefer, you could do a capital L. W, I don't think that looks like any number. So the length is usually the horizontal direction and the width is the vertical direction, but honestly, if you turned your paper like this would be the length and this would be the width. It really won't make a difference, right? So the formula for finding the area is length times width. Sometimes people call it base and height, but just remember you have to do one side times the other side. And again, we've talked about multiplication being commutative, meaning the order doesn't matter. So if you reverse them and did width times length, you'd get the same thing. All right, I don't think triangles come up. In fact, I'm positive they don't. And then the other thing is the volume formula for just kind of a box, maybe. So let me draw something like this. I took boxology, which is why this looks so good. You could take it too when you get to college. All right, this right here, the horizontal direction again, is going to be called the length. This direction that kind of slides to the back is the width, and this is the height, right? And so when we find the volume of a box, we just do length times width times height. All right, and again, you should remember this. I know you did a lot of this last year in Fred. Same thing here. I can't remember if we've done it this year in Fred or not. All my classes kind of blend together. So anyway, these are the 3 concepts that you'll really need to know for the test packet. Okay, good luck with it. Bye.